Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 4 of the RRTG, otherwise known as the Random Road to Glory, where along with using no FIFA points, we also use no players from the top 9 nations or top 5 leagues. Aside from Cole Jenkinson, of course. For those of you who didn't watch episode 3, he didn't miss much, so don't worry, only a 9-goal thriller in arguably the greatest draft game of all time. So pretty standard stuff. I will leave a link below, if you happen to fancy it. But for those of you who are sticking around with me, allow me to update you on where we are at. So, last time we made our first real round of upgrades, and this episode we continue in the exact same vein. When I say I've been putting in work off camera, I'm not joking. Who out there is getting elite in squad battles? No one. Along with that, I also played a couple games of Rivals, getting us up to Div 7 again. You didn't miss anything massive, just more of the same. Jenko banging in the odd screamer or two, Hernandez collecting even more match balls. Bloke will be able to open his own Sports Direct at this rate. Regardless, thanks to that, our Evos are now coming along more than nicely. Sarahili, Lecky and Xingtian all received upgrades. I have butchered 2, if not all of those names. But swiftly moving on, also managed to boost this fella, Lajami, who, speaking of which, is our new starting left back, so say hello. I bought this guy to play their last episode. Granted, it was literally just to make up the numbers, but I'm not even saying this for effect. Maybe the worst defender I've ever used in the entirety of my FIFA career. I shouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I mean, look at those stats. If I took away left back from that card, you couldn't tell me what position this bloke played, let alone it was in defence. Regardless, Lajami, absolute demon. He's got anticipate, he can play left back, right back, centre back, so you know that Evo selection is about to be absolutely sensational. Speaking of fresh faces, we also welcomed a few new big ones into the fold, quite literally in fact. Because first up is the 6'4 Serb, the beast from the east, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, ladies and gentlemen. I've been waiting to get my hands on this bloke. One of the reasons I wanted to start this series, in fact. I've got a soft spot for tall players that can dribble. They just make the game look so good. Regardless, at 6,000 coins, who am I to say no at that price? Secondly, it was a couple from Copenhagen, Larson and Hoyland. Again, around 10k a piece. They set us back, which I'm calling a bargain, to be honest. The pair give us a huge boost in both defence and attack. So much even, I think it might be time. We've been putting it off for far too long now, trying to get our ducks in a row, but that comes to an end today, because I think the boys are ready. I think it might be time to play some foot champs. In terms of starting 11 we'll be putting out, this is how we're lining up. Going into the big one. In-game, I'll switch to a 4-3-2-1. Oyland drops back into centre-half, allowing Jenko into midfield, just to control the tempo. Knock it about a little bit, the usual. The rest of the lads pretty much line up as expected. Anyways, that is enough dilly-dallying for now. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Game 1, and not just this episode, but our weekend league career. And considering it was foot champs, I'd say we've been thrown a bone with our opponent, especially the way we're looking on paper now. Regardless, our aim weren't to set the world alight just yet. We just want to be challenging, getting our foot in at this higher level. Anyways, Larsen said sod all of that, we're getting to work straight away. 10 minutes in and the Swede finds himself a pocket of space between the centre halves. And old Jordan, you little dancer. Talk about that for an introduction. It's outrageous from the wide man to put us a goal to the goods. From new to old, it's the vet to double our lead at the half-hour point. There weren't a chance a game of this size was going to pass by that him putting a mark on it. It's the Mexican to bag his first in the big time. At this point, we're feeling good. We're flying even. Unfortunately, just as we were ready to keep going in the second 45, it looks like someone's pulled the plug. I weren't too concerned though. Match under review, they told me I was already tallying up my points. But I don't know who was in the VAR booth, but does it go by the name of Stevie Wonder by any chance? I don't know how they've come to that conclusion. But talk about a smack in the face. Regardless, we had no choice but to keep it pushing into game 2. And as if our last 5 minutes couldn't get any worse, our opposition, well, you take a look for yourself, it's not looking good. Saying that, we kept things competitive for the first 30 minutes. Took some real class from Xavi to break the deadlock. Dances through our backline to give them the lead. He weren't the only one with a bit about him though. Have a look at this for a response straight from kickoff, and we didn't faff about it. Johan clearly taught the lads a thing or two last episode, because that is total football if I've ever seen it. Bit of one touch, two touch, what do you like? Culminating my goal of this series so far is an absolute beauty to draw us back level. Not to be outdone, it's the big Serb to win the ball back in our own half, shifts it round the back line, and you can have all the icons you like, son. I'm tearing him apart in midfield. He can't get near the lads. Ends up wide with Bar, who threads through the big Norwegian. And it's another absolute peach of a goal. And against all odds, one that gives us the lead in this game. Considering the quality of my play, it's a real shame what comes next. Second half, defending the counter, multiple men over. And my game freezes up. Next thing you know, I've got King Kenny bearing down on goal. And yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. Shit happens. All square, as both sides struggle to find a winner going into the latter stages, but it's only a matter of time before this man made his mark. We'd managed to keep him quiet all game, but a burst of pace for R9. You're not catching this bloke once the motor's running. 3-2. And despite the loss, I thought we did more than enough to keep our Reds' eye going into the next one. And by the initial looks of things, seemed a bit more our speed, so you know we had to capitalise. You can keep your Ronaldos, you can keep your Kennys. There's only one man for my heart, and that's Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, doesn't just bag, but makes it look oh so good with the shot fake cracking start to give us the lead. Unfortunately, while our attack was firing on all cylinders, down the other end, we didn't have the slightest of clues. I mean, how many cracks at the lad do you need to make a tackle? Surely there comes a point you just take him out. Anyways, it's what can only be described as Sunday League defending to drawing level. To be honest, it was a game in which neither backlines shrouded themselves in much glory. Keeper does himself zero favours with this one, palms it straight back out to Milinkovic-Savic, who bagged his first goal for the club. Before it's that man again, Luis Hernandez, to cap off our display. Body on the line from Sergei to win it back on the high press. Lovely little 1-2 to open up the space, and from that range is automatic. 3-1 as we get our club's first ever FUT Champs win. We did get a second, was an absolute belter too. However, I forgot to press record, so yeah, that one's on me. Let's have a quick break. So, at the halfway mark, and given some of the teams we've been up against, I'd say we've fared pretty well, to be honest. Regardless, I thought I'd have a little reflection time, see if I could add anything to the team to help get it over the line. Thank you for your comment, Kark. I've been looking at the Turkish League as a whole. They got some real good players, Dzeko included, so he could certainly be one for the future. There were a few other things I was eyeing up, but all of those were swiftly pushed to the side, disregarded in their entirety once this next option became available. You see, if you recall, back in episode 2, I said this. We kicked this episode off with our second Evo upgrade, slowly working our way to the big 99. I was going to finish all 3 stages, but it leaves you with the free kick, playstyle plus, and as good as that third stage is looking stat-wise, I don't want to be looking into that just yet. Say what you want, I have playstyle plus commitment issues. I think we could hold out for something just a little bit better. Now, I've been called many a name in my time. Some good, some bad. But I'd like you to all add Mystic Mac to that list, because thanks to my patience, we now have available to us, arguably, and it'll be a bloody short argument, the greatest card to ever grace this game we call Ultimate Team. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at it. Give yourself a second if you need it, because I did. We've got all the time in the world, but when you're ready, take it in. Take it in all its beautiful, breathtaking glory. It's everything I dreamed of and more. Radioactive, Anticipate Plus, delightful little stat boost. I genuinely couldn't believe my eyes at first, but after being sat staring at it for a good 90 minutes to 2 hours, I can confirm it's real. This is really happening. First though, we do need 100k. So yeah, those upgrades I was debating about earlier, forget about it, because every single coin that passes through this account from now on is going towards that Carl Jenkinson. And on that note, we best get back to making some. Game 4, and with our newfound inspiration, it was out of the frying pan into the fire. Another belter of a side in our way. 7 icons in total. Our squad, we only need the one. It's Luis Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, you just can't stop the bloke. He's about as useful as a chocolate teapot when he hits them like that. Green time Travella to take the lead. 20 minutes later, and it's a pretty aimless ball over the top from Barr. But the defender, he ain't comfortable with a little Mexican bearing down his neck. Nicks the ball off him before teeing up for Brout. And the easy finish, 2-0, before it's that man again to put it to bed. It's certainly not one of his prettiest goals, but they all count the same. 3-0, 3 points, and now just 1 game away from the big time. Next up, it's our arch nemesis Mbappe leading the line. We did well in the opening stages, even had a chance or two. This effort from Larson pushed wide, but in the end, it was a piece of sheer brilliance to break the deadlock. Got to be 25 plus yards from goal. And pick that one out. It's a world-class effort from the Frenchman Ribery to put us a goal down before it's his countryman Kylian Mbappe to double it for him. Again, it's an outrageous effort to beat our keeper, but that's what 4.5 mil gets you, I suppose. 2-0 down, and we held out to the second 45 at least before things went from bad to worse. It's Mbappe again to put this one well and truly out of reach. Little 1-2 with Ribery, and it's a simple finish to bag himself a brace. We did manage to get ourselves one consolation, to be fair, but focus is well and truly shifted to this next one. Still a few games to go, so not quite squeaky bum time yet. Keep facing teams like this though, it might just be. Only thing worse than player of the month, Mbappe, you guessed it. Team of the year, Mbappe. Christ knows how he's got his hands on him this quick. Bloke's only been about for 5 minutes at this point. Didn't take him much longer than that to bag his first either. 1-0 down, and I'm already fearing the worst. Fortunately, while we might not have the best cards, one thing we do have in abundance are the biggest leaders. And there's no one else I don't want to be putting the team on their back in times of need more than this man here. It's Auschness to win a penalty. And you've already seen this story a few times. Jenko, bottom corner, how do you do? That was all I needed. Once he bagged, close the bookie, shut him down, blow the whistle even. This is only ending one way. 30 minutes in, and it's our fullback Bar finding some space down that right flank, sends Avert packing with the drop of a shoulder and puts it on a shelf only Brout can reach. A floater to the back stick and a colossal header from the Norwegian to give us the lead. He weren't done there though. Our opposition had João Cancelo at right back. Sure, he can play a bit. How's he faring when we're bombing his noggin every 5 minutes though? By the looks of this one, not all that well. It's a carbon copy of the first to put us 2 goals to the good. And yeah, if I'd spent all that money to get dunked on by a bloke with bangs, I'd probably have left too. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we made it. Maybe not as smooth as our typical style, but it's a results-based business, and as per usual, we've delivered. EA, as per usual, did not. It's just a bunch of dross in our rewards, but it didn't matter. The real money is going to be made this Saturday in the Weekend League. Speaking of which, that is where I will see you next, as this episode comes to a close. As always, thank you for your support thus far. If you are enjoying the series, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day, whatever it is you are doing. And as per usual, I hope to see you next time.